I do it to him.
All right, so everybody knows the big news of the week, and if you've been following along, if you've been following pop culture, you know that the big news of the week is that Corey Feldman is opening for Limp Bizkit.
Roll.
She said she loved you, but she don't really mean it. Her face is lying when you look in her eyes. She said it's strange, but you know she can keep it. She said the truth, but you know she ain't right. She said she got it, but she got explanation.
He's a legend.
She got excuses. Oh, cut the track. Sorry, that was called a technical mix-up. Nobody should ever start a track until I'm on the stage, guys.
Come on.
Hey, that's all right.
Hey.
It happens, man. Guess you're going to have to wait for that one next time.
Next time.
I
Sorry,
saw
guys.
Wallace Shawn die.
Moving right
Wallace
along.
Shawn is dead.
It's 2 minutes for roping. I like that. You're a jabroni. Go ahead.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am not AJ Lancaster, but I have to fill in for his shoes tonight because he is in the middle of a power outage thanks to storm systems. Go figure, after the man who supported Twisters more than anybody on the planet is going to be missing his own show due to weather.
It tells me constantly that it's safe to live in Nebraska. I don't know, y'all. I don't know.
So it is Wednesday night. It is What the Show. We are the Deacons. Now, we knew off the bat that Justin the Juice was not going to be able to make it tonight. Fortunately, we had a backup plan in place, so we do have Geoff Alterman tonight. Welcome back to the show. Long time no see, Geoff.
Hello. Thank you for having me back. It's been a while.
Yeah.
If you're playing AJ and Geoff is playing the role of Juice tonight, I'm playing a dual role of the both of us.
Yeah, apparently. So you're the Deacons.
So I'm jointly the Deacons, everyone. I will occasionally talk sense, and occasionally I'll just be like, I just really love Club Dread, Coconut Pete, you know.
So apparently it's a hurricane.
So the weather I'm used to. AJ, I had a really good tornado story to tell you, but you're not here, but you're watching, so I might just tell it anyways. If you're game, Geoff.
What?
Yeah, okay, Geoff was listening. I said, if you're game, do you mind if we start this stream off on a tornado story?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so last week I had strong feelings about the Weather Channel app and how it's the best app. Okay, we discussed this, right?
Right.
So, anywho, Friday evening, I meet up with my friend to practice baton, which I know what y'all are thinking, but yes, that is what we were doing on Friday night. And we live right down the road from a university, which she happens to be a student at, so she knows, like, hey, these are where the ballrooms are. Like, we basically met up at her student union, okay? And she's like, that's where the ballrooms are, and we just like hijack a ballroom to practice baton in. So because our ceilings are not high enough to do this, right? So anywho, we meet up, and right as I'm like heading over, I go outside and I was like, oh, thunderstorm's rolling in. And I was like, we're getting to that. I'm telling the story and he is spoiling it.
Spoiler alert.
So anywho, we live like 5 minutes from campus. I got to campus. By the time I get there, it looks like the world's about to end. And I was like, oh, this is more than like the average thunderstorm. Like this is like some severe weather, you know? So I'm like, okay, let me like wait, lightning, rain, put on my hood, run on into the student union. I get into the student union, y'all, and the doors are flapping, okay? So Tommy's like, let's go, my friend. She's like, let's go to the bathroom real quick. You're all wet. Like, let's dry you off with some paper towels, whatever. We are in the bathroom, and all of a sudden, tornado warning. And I was like, oh. And it literally says the fucking neighborhood that we are in. I'm like, cool.
Like our actual
cool story.
Like sublet where we live in Savannah. It had that listed.
That is where the rotation was spotted. And I was like, what's that for us? So I was like, oh, serious? And I don't know if you know this about me, Geoff, but I am like deathly afraid of tornadoes. It's a whole bit me and AJ have for years now because I can't ever visit him in Nebraska because Tornado Alley, right? Even though he's like, I haven't seen a tornado since 1996. Bill Baxton may have been present. We're not certain. But anywho, so my ridiculous fear maybe never prepared me better for a moment because my friend is like, what do we do? And I'm like, find an interior room and get low, duh. And I was like, let me pull up. I'm like on, National Weather Service, Charleston is our closest location's Twitter account. And I'm like, they're going to track the storm for me. And I'm going to put it. I'm like on my weather app, the best, weather app in the world. And I'm looking into things. Mind you, there's a man sitting next to windows. The school's not even in fucking session right now. And this man is sitting next to windows. And I was like, look alive, broski, look alive. This is not a time to be sitting next to windows, my dude. So I was like, whatever he is setting is the most important thing in the world that he's willing to die for. So he's sitting there, okay? And then this other dumbass, because we're like looking for, an interior room. And so this other dumbass comes. Literally, I can't trust enough. The world is ending outside. We all just got the same alert on our phones, okay? And she comes up and she's like, is it like safe to go outside right now? No, it is not. I'm on the weather app and I'm like, all right, storm is moving 10 miles per hour. It's in winter forest. That is where we are. Okay, we really need to find a room. There's a map on this wall. Let me see if it tells you. No, it tells you a fire escape route. But you know what it says for a tornado? It's like, if there's a tornado warning, find an, I already know that. Tell me where on this floor plan is an interior room that I can get low. So I'm like, okay, I'm annoyed at this point with the university, if it wants to call itself that, and this girl who is a college-educated person, clearly being college-educated, who thinks she should go outside. I'm like, stick with me, chickie poo. So we're like saving this poor girl's life. I don't know what's going on with window, dude. And we find the theater, and we hunker down in there until the storm passes, and then we practice baton. So I'm not saying that I saved a life on Friday, but I'm saying that I saved a life. And everyone's like, where are you getting this intel? My weather app doesn't tell me this. Where are you getting where the storm is moving and that or whatever? And I was like, Weather Channel, sponsor me. I'm like, download that bitch right now. It'll save your life. Window Tune is a jabroni.
Mike, taking
Thrilling stuff.
Sponsored by Weather Channel. Also today, the power went out at work as we were leaving, and another monsoon storm came through. Guess what I was on? Weather Channel. I go 5:15. It's gonna calm down. Clockwork, it did. Everyone walked to their cars safely. Thank you, the Weather Channel app. It's the best.
Heroes Bracket.
I'm glad you shared that with us.
Yeah. Can we put that on the Heroes Bracket and the Weather Channel app? I'm glad you enjoyed that story, Jeff.
So the one thing I do have to do, as we've been doing every week this summer, we did. We finally had all the 14th movie of the What the Show Fantasy Football movie box office draft game came out. So now we are officially in the final weeks of that. So the current order, I am pulling it up right now. I think the bottom 7 are 100% set in stone at this point because most of those movies are no longer in theaters. So we will have in 14th position, AJ Lancaster, who of course had Back to Black. We will have Brandon Buckingham in 13th, who had Maxine. Justin the Juice will be in 12th. He had Tarot.
Dangerous spot for him to be in.
He won the league from that spot last year. Bethany will be picking 11th. She had Furiosa. Who would have thought Furiosa 11 before this summer started?
Here we are.
Yeah.
Fine.
Jacob London is going to be 10th. He had Garfield. Mark Moose Haas will be 9th. He had Fall Guy. Larry Payne will be 8th. He had If. William Harold will be 7th. He had Quiet Place Day 1. Now, the other 6 could all change. At the moment, 6 is John Mariano with Twisters. 5
Go see
is...
Twisters, everyone.
Go see Twisters. 5 is Chance Ellison with Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. 4 is Jeremiah Morris with Bad Boys Ride or Die. At the moment, 3 is me with Deadpool and Wolverine. 2 is PLD with Despicable Me 4. And in the number 1 position, PJ Campbell with Inside Out 2. So that is where we stand right this minute. Bunch of surprises, though. Like, Jeff, what would you have had as your top 5 before the summer started? Like, if you had to pick the 5 movies you thought were going to be the most financially successful before they came out.
In no particular order.
Sure.
Yeah, I would have definitely said it would have been Despicable Me 4 and Deadpool and Wolverine, Inside Out 2. Those are definitely 3 of them. I'm just blanking out on the rest of the movies all of a sudden.
Mm.
We both had Furiosa in the top 5.
Oh, Furiosa I would probably have put in there. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like it wasn't
know.
going to be like a stud, but it was going to
I think I also had
the Fall Guy. I would have thought the
Yes.
Fall Guy would have done better.
I 100% thought that was going to do better. That was strange to me. That was disappointment.
I think the one that
Good
surprised
movie, but disappointment.
I enjoyed the Fall Guy. Apparently the extended version of it's coming out in a week or 2 on Peacock.
No, oh yeah, I haven't. I've heard that the extended one is just more of it. It doesn't make it better. It makes it worse.
I mean,
because it makes it longer.
How often, like realistically? I mean, there are some movies I know that some people swear by the extended versions, but the overall percentage of movies that you see a director's cut does not really add to the movie. It just gives you more.
I don't know. Let's wait for this Friday, August 2nd, when the new Zack Snyder director's cuts come out for his series Rebel Moon.
It's so bad.
I still haven't given myself like the push to watch part 2, the first version.
I've said this before on here. Like, I'm not a Zack Snyder fan whatsoever. Like, I saw 300. I'm like, whoa, this is really cool. Like, it looks cool, and there's a lot going on. And I saw the trailer for Watchmen when it was attached to Dark Knight. I was like, holy shit! And I went out and I bought the book. I never read Watchmen.
That's what happened to me too.
Yeah, I went out and I bought the book, and I read the book, and I read it like
amazing.
Immediately. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then I saw the movie, and I was a little underwhelmed. And
I was underwhelmed. I liked it, but I was underwhelmed because I just was like, oh, I'm watching what I saw in the book, and that was it.
And the book was just more interesting. Like, the way his pacing just didn't feel right for that. And then, of course, it was followed by Sucker Punch, which was one of my most, like, I hate this movie the second it started. And
I did work at the movie theater.
I actually don't know if I ever finished it. I think I've tried on like a few different occasions over the years, and I don't think I've ever been able to get myself to go through more than halfway of it.
Let me get this straight. So you have at least watched part of Sucker Punch, but never Jaws. I'm just kidding. I don't want that joke. I gotta get
it's funny if you look at my letterbox right now, there might be a Jaws line in there.
I don't think I had watched Jaws like start to finish for a long time, and we were at my parents over 4th of July, and they put it on at night, like they were trying to distract leave the TV on loud to distract the dog who's afraid of fireworks. And I think it was probably the first time I watched Jaws start to finish in like at least 15 years, and that's just a hell of a movie.
It's still so good, and it's like, oh my god, wait, they sit on the boat for the whole second half of the movie.
The whole second half of the movie is 3 guys on a boat.
Instead of just like a third act finale.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
But you're invested the whole time. It's funny because Jaws, when we saw Alien in theater earlier this year, it's like the 70s did horror thriller, suspense, whatever you want to call these movies, so much better than a lot of the movies that are doing it today. Like, they didn't rely heavily on gore. Most of it was in your mind. Yes. And now
let the audience like be smart. Like, we didn't like beat people over the head with things. And also, like, I told Mike when we went to go see Alien, I go, movie's starting slow. Probably no one else feels that way, but I like I don't know, it's the way
give it time to breathe.
Pace.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't feel like Alien feels long. Like, I don't feel like it feels like it runs long, or like Jaws feels like it runs long. Like, it feels like the perfect amount of movie. It's just like the way it's paced is just chef's kiss.
Alien's a great example of like, it sets the atmosphere before it goes into the actual nuts and bolts of the story. It's like it world builds a little bit. It's slow. But because it does that, it makes what happens next more important.
What was it, a 45th anniversary screening or 45th, something?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. That was the first time I ever saw it in theaters, so that was pretty cool. I was working at the theater when it came out for the 25th. So, I mean, that was 2004.
Only Alien film I've seen in theaters is Prometheus. At the midnight.
Actually, believe it or not, is the only other one I've seen in theaters, too. We share that.
Same. But maybe we'll all go see the one coming out this summer.
I'm a little skeptical. I was talking to Matt Thomas earlier. I'm a little skeptical about this new one.
I think part of it is definitely going to be your mileage on Fede Alvarez and how
I'm not a Fede fan.
and
So-
how you may feel with just how like purely nihilistic and bleak his movies end up being.
And it's not subtle. He gets very in your face with some of the things
Like
he does.
I like Don't Breathe the first time I watched it, and like just by the novelty of what it was doing, and then afterwards it was like actually this is just kind of unpleasant. Like
Yeah. I did not like his Evil Dead, and I realize that's again.
I like his Evil Dead fine, but it's nowhere near like my favorite.
But and I said this to Matt earlier. We were discussing this very conversation, and the big thing with me is like I think I realized with these movies like it wasn't the Evil Dead story I liked; it was Bruce Campbell that I liked. That was why I liked the first three so much.
Mm-hmm.
So
of course, although I think Evil Dead Rise is awesome.
I still have not watched that. I mean,
it's okay. So it has that meanness that I just referenced that like Fede has, but it's much more darkly funny, and it's more inventive in what it tries to do. Like, it knows that it's in a different location, and it makes use of that with a limited budget. It's really cool. It's really fun, and it gets very, very crazy.
well, I do like
And
that.
it's an easy, I think, probably like 90-minute watch.
That's the other thing we've mentioned this a few times to each other is that like the art of the 90 to 105 minute movie is just it's missing so getting anything that's a blockbuster under 120 just doesn't happen much.
I just watched Kill this evening.
Mhm.
The Indian action film.
Yeah, I heard very good things about that.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome. But it was wild for a couple of reasons. One, it seems like most like Indian crossover hits or movies are like 2.5, 3 hours long.
Right.
And also it feels like most studio action movies that are made now are pushing like 2 hours to 2 hours and 15 minutes or something like that. And this movie was like an hour and 45 minutes. So, and it was like, it definitely didn't need to be any longer than that. So it's crazy when there are ones that are like, if something's super bloated, like if it's 2.5 hours long, I'll watch it and be like, they should have just actually made it 3 hours and then it would have made it better, I think.
Yeah.
That's
when
something
it gets that big.
Where we watched there's a series, it's currently, I think it aired on Vice originally. It's currently, you can find it on Freevee and Tubi and Amazon Prime. It's called Icons Unearthed.
Okay.
And we watched the one on Star Wars, and they actually interviewed Marcia, and you get her perspective from the editing aspect of it, which you never ever hear.
Marcia
They
never
always
talks.
she's like
This is
blackballed,
so great.
blacklisted.
Who's Marcia again?
Like
Marcia Lucas, the editor.
That's what I thought, but I was like, oh no, wait, do you know George Lucas? Like her name? Yes.
Yeah, she never is in the public eye because obviously most of these things are affiliated officially through Lucasfilm, and this series is not. So since like there are a lot of people involved in Lucasfilm that are interviewed for it,
Right.
but because it's like
It's not produced by
them, she actually like was able to come out and talk, and I've always been absolutely fascinated by her, and I would love if she could come to a Star Wars convention one day so I could just like meet her because I'm obsessed.
You know what it was? I mixed her up with George Miller's wife, Margaret Sixel, who's his muse as a film editor to make the madness work.
It's similar.
Yeah, they're similar guys to that, I would say, and they both have M names.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's interesting.
They both won an Academy Award for their genre-defining epic that their husbands made.
Yep. Guess who doesn't have an Academy Award? You don't. Guess who does? Me. Love that for them, honestly. Although I was saying, as we were watching this, I was like, honestly, George Lucas, like, it's such a weird, complicated thing because he's so much more about innovation than I think he is about filmmaking. But I do think for what he has done to cinema, he should at least get, like, it is crazy to me that he doesn't have an Oscar. Like,
there's a Lifetime Achievement Award, 100%.
They may. The thing is, though, I'm sure that like when it comes to Lifetime things, they may also like if it's a lifetime. Maybe he's already been alerted once and he declined it, and they just haven't.
Yeah.
announced it.
Right, which is very
You would have
possible.
thought
He
someone
could be like that sort of guy with how much of like a reclusive guy he kind of has become.
Yeah. Yeah.
I respect him for that. Like he's
wants
like,
to
I'm
be a
done.
Skywalker.
Yeah, it's like Daniel Day-Lewis. It's like, all right, I did my piece, and now I'm gonna go
If you ever-
cobble shoes.
Yeah.
I
or
hope
make
we're all like
dresses.
really respect George Lucas. Sometimes I'm like, it's easy to make fun of him. But if you ever, speaking of things you watch, listen to, whatever, if you ever like really want to respect him as a human being, like as a person, nothing has ever made me do that more than listening to the podcast, The Redemption of Jar Jar Binks. I have never respected George Lucas more than listening to that podcast and listening to like Ahmed Best and other people that worked with him on the prequels spoke about him as a person and whatever. And I was just like, okay, all right, George. Like, I like to make fun of you sometimes, and sometimes you make some weird choices. But I think, like, as far as you can be a decent human being and have that much money, I think for a billionaire, he is a decent human
I
being.
don't think he's a dick. He's a little
Right.
self-centered in terms of what his
Yes.
output is. Like it's his baby. He wants full control over it. But I don't think he's a bad human.
Right.
Oh, he's a little quick. He's like a little esoteric. He's a little quixotic, rich, reclusive guy. That's all. So
Yeah,
a lot of weird older rich guys are a little odd.
Yeah. Go live on Skywalker Ranch and like live your best life.
Do your
buddy.
thing, but
sure, you deserve it.
Like Skywalker sound itself, you know, how many movies do you see that have that logo in there? It's
Like literally just for the contribution of like ILM.
Yeah.
Like the fact that
ILM THX.
like like
Pixar exists because of it
it
too.
it is insane the things that we like take for granted now like wouldn't exist if it
All right. You're flirting with the 5-minute ban right there, William. No, wait. No, one more thing. Not flirting with 5. No. You are
Okay,
100% correct.
That
You are
is
right.
what you stand
Yes, I stand for that. William, I'm so sorry. I get a 5-minute ban.
Yes. You are a firm believer that Han murdered Greedo. So
Yeah, Han shot first.
yeah.
Greedo never shot. It's not a first. It's Han shot.
Yeah, because he's dead. So like
Well, okay. In the chronology of how the scene has been released to the public,
Now it is.
Han shot first.
Right now it is, but how it originally was is definitely
McClunky.
McClunky.
Honestly, the McClunky edit is the best.
Oh, he's like, I had one more surprise for you.
He's like, I'm gonna roll off into the sunset, but first, McClunky.
So here's my favorite thing about that is that it was on the Disney Plus. When that dropped.
Yeah,
So
when it opened, the whole app.
it was 3 a.m. Eastern time was when Disney Plus premiered. When I woke up for work that day,
McClunky.
it was already out. Like, who got Disney Plus and put Star Wars on immediately?
And how did it
Why
become
not?
such a widespread? It feels like something that they planned. They did it on purpose in order to get people to talk about it immediately.
Yeah.
On
But
launch
it
day.
was
They're like, we're
like
getting
it feels like in retrospect the kind of crazy like PR move that they would have like done stealthily on their own in order to get people talking about their app. Yeah, that's a conspiracy going.
But yeah, do you think like some publication somewhere was like, hey, all right, this beat writer, you're gonna watch this, you're gonna watch this, you're gonna watch this, and this guy was just like,
how much Star Wars?
fucking jackpot. Look what I unearthed.
Can you imagine being the patient zero of being the first
I
person to
wish that I had just put it on Disney Plus and I didn't know, and I was just like, what the fuck? Like, what an honor, honestly.
Imagine the people who, when they like chose to add that in, they were like, "This is it. this is it. This is the moment."
This is yes. People are like, what? Why is this? Why are we adding this in? What does that mean?
Bethany knows this. I don't know when I'm going to do this, but I'm going to do a big piece on my arm, and it's going to be Greedo, and the bunting is going to say McClunky.
It's awesome.
Why
Happy
not?
for you. You should do it.
Oh man! So I know Jeff.
Wild time.
I talked to Jeff about this earlier. We have to bring this up because we're fresh off of it. Jeff doesn't know a lot about it, but we watched the Olympic opening ceremony, and
I haven't.
wow!
Can
Yeah. I know you have. Yeah.
Preface this with
I wouldn't tell her that.
annoyed at the right wing portion of our country because I wanted to sit here and make fun of the Olympics and have a good time, but y'all fucking ruined that because you little piss babies have made it into a whole political thing and we're boycotting whatever. No, I wanted to make fun of it first, but like for fun and games.
Because it was batshit insane.
Because it was batshit insane, not because it offended me. I don't give a shit. Like it was fine. Like nothing offended me in that at all. I was just like, what the heck are they doing? But yeah, now it's turned into like the last supper is not the last supper, it's this, it's that, Christianity, blah, blah, blah. And screw you, right wing people and your weird sensitivities. And I don't know why we're the ones who are woke and cancel culture when y'all are boycotting shit left and right. Now, with that out of the way, let's have fun poking fun at the Olympic opening ceremony.
So, Geoff, have you ever watched an Olympic opening ceremony, period?
Yeah, like I think like the one in Beijing was awesome. The London one that Danny Boyle directed with James Bond parachuting in, that was pretty cool. Those are the only ones I remember.
So this one was very, very different in that they had we have power! We have power!
It was the Feast of Dionysus, not the Last Supper. Sorry.
Yes. That's one of the only two things I know that happened with the Olympics is that it was the Greek thing and not the Last Supper.
And not the Last Supper. But Christians
the other
Philistines.
Yes. The only other thing that I know about the Olympics, because I've paid so little attention, is that it has to end next week, I believe, because Monday Night Raw was on Sci-Fi this week instead of USA, and it'll be on Sci-Fi next week instead of
Jeff
USA.
understands this from wrestling, and I love that for you.
The thing is, I know that like from someone who watched it all in the 90s, it was always the U.S. Open and the Olympics that was fucked up Monday Night Raw schedule.
Fucking it up. So can we just state? I realized this past week when I was like, have y'all seen the opening ceremony? And I was like, no, at work. And I was like, have you ever watched one? And people were like, no. And I'm like, what is wrong with you? How have your entire life? I'm like, did you not have a childhood? Like, how did you not watch an opening ceremony once in your life? But to be clear, they're always a little hokey, right? Like they're not like they're good. Like the Beijing was good, like the London was good, but they're silly. Like, but it usually does. Like they do the entertainment portion first. You watch that as representative of the country, which France did. I'm gonna give them that. France also tried something new and bold. I'm gonna give them credit for trying to be creative.
It didn't work.
It didn't work, but they did try something. But here's my legitimate biggest pet peeve. We're getting into the fun and games of it and the weirdness of it in a minute. So what they decided to do was mix the parade of athletes in with the entertainment portion, which has never really been done. You do one and then you do the other.
Right.
And I guess they were trying to be like, this will be
like
smart.
doing the Super Bowl halftime show with the team on the field.
Yes, that's fair.
That is a 100% perfect description of it.
And Gojira.
And Gojira.
Yeah.
So, what legitimately makes me sad, truly. So I love the parade of athletes, y'all. Like, I'm just a sucker for a good feel-good moment. These people have worked their whole life so hard for it.
Like, genuinely, like, almost sometimes we get a little, like borderline, not emotional, but, like, kind of, like, caught up, like, when there was a country being represented by one athlete, and they're there waving their flag, and they have the biggest smile on their face because it's the biggest honor that they're going to have.
The
they actually qualified.
They can feel it off the crowd's energy.
They fought everybody in their country, and they were the last one.
Yes, and the announcers, because they have time because they're focusing on nothing but the parade of nations, is like telling you about that one person and why they're the flag bearer and what the importance is and this, that, and the other thing. And then France was like, but what if we put it on boats?
And then some boats would have multiple countries.
And we have no time then to discuss anything about these people and how hard they work for this very, very big, important accomplishment. It was like, and here's Italy, and they're on a boat with Greece, who's on a boat with Portugal. And you're like, what? It's a blur. And they can't hear anyone because it's a pouring rain. So they're trying to get all these Olympians
on a boat in a thunderstorm.
If I remember right, it was something like Ireland and Israel on the same boat. There were countries that don't get along politically on the same boat.
They said specifically Iran and Iraq, they had to separate.
Yeah.
I was like, this is it's wild. And then the poor people that have just a few people representing, a few like delegates representing,
They don't get their moment.
They don't get their
They're
moment.
with other people.
And the flag bearer is just there holding the flag
Over the edge.
And a clump of people, and so you don't get the big moment of the honor of being the flag bearer, and like it just the whole specialness.
They
of it.
took LeBron James's moment away from him.
You know he's pissed about it. You know
Can we clip this out and say call the clip something like Bethany has legitimate concerns about the Olympics opening?
Legitimate concerns. None of this weird bullshit about Christianity. I'm worried about the athletes. Now we're gonna poke fun at the rest of it.
Well, first off, not poking. We actually watched it live. It started at 1:30, and both of us worked in the morning.
I felt like I was tripping on drugs.
Yeah. So obviously, for me, everyone knows I'm a big time metalhead, and all of a sudden, there's Marie Antoinette like headless,
Yes,
saying whatever,
holding her own head.
yeah, holding her own
She's
head,
beheaded.
and then all of a sudden, Gojira out of nowhere starts playing on a fucking prison. And Kelly Clarkson just yells, "What?"
She's like, "Oh, wow!" It is wild. Like, literally, it is wild. Like, there are a few moments during this broadcast, and again, not in a clutching my pearls way, but I was like, "This is wild that this is showing on like daytime broadcast."
This at this point it's probably like 2:15, 2:30 in the afternoon East Coast. Like West Coast, it's like 11 something.
Yeah, and there's
I'm
like
at work.
Yeah.
I have no frame of reference, and I just have Mike telling me Gojira at the Olympics opening ceremony. I'm thinking like a fucking radioactive lizard, right?
Yeah.
No other frame of reference.
So Bethany looks at me, and of course, I knew who they were right away. They're from France. It made sense that it was them. But I'm like, oh, and like when the moment happens, it's like, holy shit. And then they have an opera singer singing with them, and it's an old French, like, wartime song from like 200 years ago they're playing, but they made it a metal song. It was fucking awesome.
And then there's these people that like, kind of look like they're hanging, but they're not hanging. And you're like, what? And it's just all, again, visually it's cool, but like, the thing is all of these people are performing, but because they're on a freaking river, the audience is a million miles away from them. So you're like, who are you performing to? Like, everything just felt really awkward and disjointed because, like, they had no one to perform it to because everyone is so far away. Like, no one could really, like, Gaga's there for some reason, and I'm like, I don't understand. She's not French. Like, how is this representing?
And her thing was pre-taped, I think I heard.
Yeah, and like there was a lot of pre-taped stuff. She was live.
Gaga was live because one of her dancers fell off the stage.
She was definitely live, but there was a lot of pre-taped stuff. And then the menage a trois thing was, again, that was another thing that I was like,
wait, what?
Yeah.
Oh, they showed the beginning. You did freeze. They showed the beginning of a threesome.
Oh, AJ, we could tell.
On the Olympic ceremony. And again, I'm not saying this in a pro-clutching, right-wing, crazy, cuckoo bananas way. I'm just saying it. And I was like, my mom, I texted my mom, like, this is a really crazy Olympic ceremony, like opening ceremony. She's like, oh, what channel is that on? NBC. It's always on NBC.
Always on NBC.
And she's like, I'm going to put it on for the kids. And with my nieces and nephews, and she's like, some of this is hard to explain. And I was like, I can see that.
And then there was the Assassin's Creed guy.
Yeah.
The torch.
With the torch, and they just kept calling them the
wait, I think I'm looking. I pulled up Paris Olympics opening ceremony just at Google Images. I think I know what you mean by the Assassin's Creed guy with
like parkour.
He's like on rooftop.
He has the hood and he has like a white vest with the suit jacket over it.
And so both of us had gotten off work, and both of us had the intention of taking a nap, and we put that on. We couldn't turn away.
I was like, "This is a train." I was like, "No."
I don't know what's going to happen next.
I'm so tired. We gotta keep watching. It was
wackadoodle.
It was absolutely insane.
And like I say this lovingly,
In
like
the best way.
It was a train wreck in every way you want a train wreck to be. You couldn't take your eyes off it. You had no idea what the fuck was going to happen next.
Again, I feel for the athletes. I would like them to never have to be paraded on boats again. Let's never do that again. But the rest of it, more, please. Yes, every year. I don't know what was going on.
Insanity. It was great.
They got the Olympic rings on the Eiffel Tower to aligned perfectly with the moon as it passed by.
There was lots of. Also, y'all, like, I wish I was Greece. Like, your country always comes out first. You're like, yep, saw 'em, can tune out. Everyone else, we gotta wait.
Yeah, and it like because they do it. It was weird because Bethany pointed this out, like because they did it in alphabetical order somewhat, and we're trying to figure this out.
So they announced at the beginning that they were doing it in alphabetical order, but via French. So like how it is like alphabetical order and how the countries are pronounced in France. Okay, cool. So like Germany's gonna be a lot earlier because it's Alemania, like whatever in French.
Is that what it is? Amamania?
Alemania. So
then I thought it was like ammonia or something.
So then I'm trying to figure out like where we are because fun fact, every day of my sophomore year of high school, I had to say the Pledge of Allegiance as in our Pledge of Allegiance in French. So I really know how to say the United States of America in French, let me tell you, because I had to say it every day for a year.
Estados Unidos.
So I was like, where are we going to be? But then like the countries are coming out that it wasn't really making any sense. And then the other thing that annoyed me, because again, obviously, anytime any country it's ever in, when they do the parade of athletes, they always do in both the origin of the country it's taking place and then in English, because English is the most world known thing because colonization. And it's called Spain. So all of the flags that they were like on the boat that they were standing next to in their little clumps in the rain were in English, but they're going by French alphabetical order. And I was like, this doesn't make any sense. So I'm confused because they're showing us the English. Whatever. So my mom was texting me. She's like, how come this country and this country went together? And I was like, well, because in French, they have different names, but they're not showing us that. So it's very confusing. But yeah.
And like when they came by on the boats, they were listed in English.
Yeah.
They weren't listed in French, which did not make sense.
So then it was all just very confusing. And then, but yes, Greece.
Well, it's because of the colonization. That's right.
Colonization. Because Greece started the Olympics, and any Olympic ceremony ever, Greece always gets to enter first to honor that or something. I don't fucking know.
Yeah, because that's it. So yes, like tradition.
Yes. So thank you for mansplaining something I just explained. So that's what I'm saying.
It's something that like they do every year. It's like a normal thing.
Yeah.
So
they came out first, and I'm like, oh, they're there on their little boat. And yeah, so that's how it goes. But yeah, so I'm like, man, the Greek, they just get to come out first every time. You're like, oh yeah, there they are.
You know what? I think by the time the U.S. came out, it was close to like 3.5 hours into the broadcast, which is insane.
We had gone ahead. I say more boats. Oceans are now battlefields. Less boats. If anyone is listening to me, which I don't think the Olympic Committee is, I would say less boats. Aren't we getting it soon?
We're getting the World Cup, right?
Are we also getting the Olympics? No, am I making that up? Maybe I am.
I thought it was the World Cup. I might be
wrong. We are
wrong.
getting the World Cup. Yes, I'm agreeing yes to that, but I'm saying also, are we getting the Olympics?
I will look that up.
But tell me one more time that we're getting the World Cup.
We're getting the World Cup.
AJ's a little choppy.
AJ, your cowboy hat, what's going on?
No, you are right. It is.
Thank you. I'm really good at things.
Sometimes. Yeah, I'm thinking post-storm might have some internet issues right now.
Yeah.
We hear you, so I mean you're just kind of.
So you have a
2028 in LA.
LA, baby. LA, do it in a stadium, not on boats. Thank you. Appreciate you.
Honestly, what's great though, at least on AJ's side, is that every single screen that it ends up freezing on, they're all great poses.
They are.
He's good at
that. You're really nailing it.
I have an entirely different look on the StreamYard than I do on YouTube, by the way.
Oh, okay.
Do you? Hold on, I gotta pull it up on the YouTube now and check this out.
No. Now let's switch to the YouTube one on the screen.
So you just have a full-on tree in your front yard, AJ?
Oh no,
yeah,
it's the same thing.
I have what used to be a tree in my yard.
Yeah, but it scares me. I know you're telling me it's safe, but I don't know. I'm not about that.
We did. What was it? 2 years ago, we were in a hurricane in our apartment, and we had like 4 or 5. Shockingly, I don't think a single one of them had a car.
I know. I was very amazed by that, and Hashtag blessed. And that poor lady's apartment got ruined.
Oh, after the fact.
I
Got through the hurricane, but Grandma had to go cook.
never forget Grandma's 2 a.m. cooking.
Oh,
Never
man.
forget.
I still have to be up because it was on a Sunday night. I remember that. I was watching Sunday Night Football. It was a garbage game, and you went to sleep. And then we got evacuated.
Yeah.
I think it was
That'd be fun.
like just a few weeks before the time Jeff and I were at Horror Nights.
I think it was.
It was pretty close to
It was pretty close to that. Yeah, you are correct.
That was a fun time.
So I mean, we talked about the French, but can we talk about the Cajun now?
The what?
What do you want to talk about? I'm so sorry.
The Cajun, yeah.
Oh, the Cajun? Oh, the Cajun. Okay, I got you now.
The Cajun?
The what?
It's Jeff.
Deadpool and Wolf. Oh.
Oh, the Cajun.
Jeff, are you aware?
I know what you're talking. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. No, I haven't seen it.
Okay.
All right. I mean, yes, like, but
If
you
you're-
know what it is.
Is
Like,
your
it's not.
goal not to see it, or you just haven't gone?
I haven't had a chance to go, and now I might not be able to go until August 8th. My mom texted me asking if we would go along with my dad. So it seems like the perfect family fun.
Oh yeah, when I think of Deadpool, I think of family fun.
Going with the family. But
The first
so
two ones I saw with Paulina's boss. And
Oh, nice.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
The first one I took my dad.
And
Like,
it just looks so pensive.
my dad had no idea what Deadpool was, and that's one of the happiest I've ever seen him coming out of the theater.
Yeah, I don't think my parents have seen either Deadpool.
I believe
Oh,
that my parents have not seen either Deadpool either. Nor do I think
We-
they would. enjoy them.
my mom watched the first one on her 58th birthday
Oh, wow.
in theaters opening night.
So your mom's on Valentine's Day?
No, the 12th.
Okay.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
came out,
opening
yeah.
preview. So yeah, we did that whole thing. But she doesn't do the plot of like MCU stuff. So I mean, she's watched that, and Guardians, and only first movies and Ant-Man, and loved those, but hasn't seen anything else.
I mean, those are decent ones to see. Like,
Yeah.
I don't dislike any of them. So yeah,
I agree. I agree.
Guardians is actually quite high on my list.
Yeah, I mean, even for somebody like for her who hates anything sci-fi, it's like one of those things like it's just an enjoyable romp. It's fun.
I've ever told the story about how my mom watched the entire first Avengers and she waited until the end of the movie to ask who Robert Downey Jr.'s character was.
Nope.
And I was like, we just watched the entire movie. You didn't know Iron Man? Like, he's like one of the main guys.
They
Like,
call him Iron Man.
They call him Iron Man in the movie. And yet she was like, she knows obviously who Robert Downey Jr. is, but she had like no idea. And so I was like, in future, just like in the moment, you can be like,
Well, in the future, tell her like next time you watch, like pay attention. Make sure his name is Tony Stark and not Victor Von Doom now.
it's about to get real confusing.
that is going to catch some people.
People
off
like
guard.
my mother will be very confused.
It's not going to be a large majority of people, but some will. Wait a minute, I thought he was Iron Man.
I think this is computer error. This isn't internet.
Like we hear you fine, you're just
Yeah.
stuck
You
in-
were just stuck. You do have a new position, which you were stuck.
you
in.
did shift a little bit.
Yeah, you still are in like a great just position to have though for a freeze frame. There's nothing like awkward or just like
So you're not like
yeah.
that would be
been-
bad luck. That's how I would get. No person who would be able to focus on anything.
I have like the funniest picture from the last wedding we went to of my friend Stu, who is just in the most
So good.
convoluted. We have that in here, don't we? I think AJ knows about this. Let me find it because it's the funniest fucking picture of him. He's just I know maybe we deleted it.
Oh
No, here it is.
yes, Stu Ball.
Stu Ball.
Who is that?
Poor Stubal.
This was after the reception, after the after party in the hotel bar,
After
and then we were at the after party in one of the hotel rooms, and he was just donezo.
Only the coolest people get invited to the after party. The rest of us were like, I'm exhausted.
You were invited. You went to bed.
I said the rest of us went to bed. I'm saying.
You were invited.
Yeah, but by default, me going to bed means I'm not cool because I couldn't hang. Too many espresso martinis, baby.
I do love espresso martinis. Man.
On the Marriott in Tyson's Corner in Virginia.
Yes, if you ever need a good espresso martini.
First of all, I have a shirt downstairs. It's line drying right now. It's an espresso martini button-down shirt that my mom got me because I constantly order espresso martinis. I rate them out of 5 normally too.
Wait, don't they have them at tailgate?
I was about to say that.
Order one?
So we're going.
Sports bar. I'm done. I'm fucking doing it.
We have a couple of friends who are coming through town tomorrow, and we're gonna go to our local sports bar, total dive bar. Like this is not an upscale place.
Dives don't normally have espresso martinis.
And we saw the last time we went
As we were leaving.
an advertisement that they're like, try our espresso martini, and I'm like, this can't be good.
This can't be good. We're gonna find out tomorrow.
But I need to try it.
There was a spot in Sarasota that I went to earlier this month that was just like this clearly like cheesy sort of like Mexican themed spot near like that huge mall area in Sarasota. And I ordered an espresso martini, and it was like the ugliest espresso martini I've ever seen. Like it looked closer to like Yoo-hoo in a glass, but like more watery. No foam or anything. No 3 beans.
You gotta have the 3 beans. 3 beans are best, baby.
4.5 out of 5. One of the best ones I might have ever played. It was the weird. I looked at that fully expecting to hate it. It looked like it was going to taste like hand sanitizer.
And then it was good. You know what? So you can't judge a book by its cover.
So where would you say the best one you've had has been?
God, I don't know. That's hard.
We randomly found a speakeasy in Savannah like 2 weekends ago.
If you've never, it'll change your life. It's with lavender, that sounds good. There is a place here in Savannah called Lulu's, and it's a dessert bar. And they have so many, like you can get so many different kinds.
Think of a flavor. They probably will make a martini.
Yeah, it is. You can get like a raspberry,
cotton candy,
So they have like a bunch of different. Like it's almost like you're going into a coffee shop.
Yeah.
Like you could order all those different types, but in martini version. And then they have other things that are like fruity ones, like orange creamsicle, stuff like that, whatever.
Your dad had that.
He licked that cup clean, let me tell you.
Had never had a martini in his life.
Delicious cheesecake. I would say that's probably one of my favorites. I feel
we have a great one in Northern Liberties area of Philadelphia. There's a place called Bar 1010. And now this is the interesting thing about it. They have it 2 different ways. One of them is one with like mocha and whatnot, and it's awesome with mocha and like cocoa powder on top of it. The other one, very weird, but it's great. It's just a great espresso martini with Parmesan grated over it.
Interesting. I'll try. I love cheese. I love espresso martinis. I feel like it's on my alley. You know what was really good? This is not.
The only thing is the mouthfeel. It's weird when you get.
I can sense that.
That one.
But the flavor.
We were in Viennapoli, and I tried the tiramisu martini. No, that was you're like you did. I was about to say it's one of the best martinis I've ever had in my life, and he said, "This is why I tell you a million times over. You were terrible at finishing my sandwiches." It's literally one of the best drinks I've ever had in my life, but according to
great Arrested Development reference there. There's a great one that I just discovered this weekend at a place called Ashton Cigar Bar. I didn't realize they had espresso martinis, and I got it, and it definitely had like chocolate in it or something. It was amazing.
Well, I think the espresso, the espresso martini is kind of like. It's kind of growing as we speak. Like,
it's very much the trendy drink type stuff.
Yeah.
It's a very trendy drink. And the thing is, I love it specifically because if I go out somewhere and they have it, I'll get 2 of them at least to start because espresso earlier on, it really helps me through the rest of the time.
Yeah.
So I will tell you that little Virginia hotel bar though,
they were great.
They were
their bartenders were
good.
And the bartender came up. He's like, "I make a mean martini. Old fashioned." I'm like, "Sold." And I taste. I'm like, "You were correct. You did make
It's a ball of cocktails." But I'm happy that for once the trendy drink is like something I like because I feel like usually it's something like, "Oh, is this normal?"
I'm tasking you with something, Jeff. I know you're traveling this weekend. So I need you to tell us where the best espresso martini in Cleveland is.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm gonna have a single meal in Cleveland the whole time I'm there. And that's just gonna be lunch. I'm gonna be going to some, I think, like Japanese place in Cleveland beforehand. So they might have that. And then it's gonna be awesome because our seats are gonna be the like one of those like suite boxes.
That's awesome.
And from my understanding, it'll be one that's like more. I think it'll be closer to the center angle to like look down because it's more angled with the stage ring at the center.
Right.
Yeah. That's crazy.
You probably get I'm assuming if you're in one of those boxes, you probably get beer and wine included.
Probably. I'd think so. It's myself, Paulina, and then my brother is coming because my parents got us the Royal Rumble tickets because it was an hour from the Florida house there as a Christmas present. And so then my parents were like, we're gonna go because my brother and his girlfriend at the time, now fiance, didn't want to go along and watch it. And then this time though, my mom surprised me with like the casino comping tickets for her. And she had 3 tickets. So the third one she gave it was either going to be my brother or her again. So she gave it to him because she's already gone to a WWE thing.
She's like, I'll give this one.
Exactly. So it's him this time.
Yeah, there's going to be no time for espresso martinis in Cleveland.
No, unfortunately.
Maybe there'll be a stand in the stadium that you might find a bar in the stadium.
How far is
I don't think they're going to be making that though in the stadium.
Yeah, probably not.
I will say. When I went to MetLife Stadium in Jersey, there were 2 like full bars there that you probably could have gotten that. So it's a possibility.
You never say never.
I don't know. I'm gonna be up in like a suite area where I don't have to like move and there's a couch and whatnot. So
that's gonna be awesome.
I wouldn't leave that.
You probably will have TVs in there too that you might actually be able to hear the audio.
That's what I'm like hoping for is we're gonna like blast the TV to hear the audio because. Otherwise, I was just gonna like I remember trying to like, I still have to rewatch both nights of WrestleMania because I haven't heard the actual commentary for it. Because I haven't heard Snoop Dogg's commentary for the Pride versus the Final Testament.
Right. I love right now too. Speaking of Snoop Dogg, that like right now Snoop Dogg and Flavor Flav are like the kings of the Olympics.
Reaction image.
And like everyone's like, so who had Snoop Dogg and Flavor Flav being like the most wholesome people on the planet right now? Just going and rooting for everybody.
Unofficial mascot of the United States of America, and I'm happy to have him here.
Snoop Dogg's image evolution over time is fascinating. Like it's something interesting.
How, like in this year now, what reason does anybody have to dislike the man?
It's Snoop.
It's Snoop.
Yeah.
And it was truly crazy the trajectory of his career, what has taken him. Good for him though.
Yeah. Good for him. He tried so hard to sell those smokeless
the smokeless grills or whatever. That was such a backfire. You want to talk about your all-time marketing fails? That's one of them.
The thing is though, it's actually a really funny, clever marketing gimmick. It's just the product itself flopped, and I don't think it had anything to do with necessarily just the marketing.
Well, like he sold it sincerely, but like when the first thing came out, it's just him saying, "I've given up smoke." It's like everybody's like, "What?" You know.
Please respect my privacy at this time.
I mean, it was attention grabbing, but
The setup for it, yeah, hell, you know what it is? Yeah, who knows? Maybe this is what's going to happen with Robert Downey Jr. Just like a huge thing that makes you go, wait, what the fuck? And then maybe it'll be a big flop. Maybe it'll be a big flop like these smokeless systems. Him and Dr. Doom. Flava Flav put out a tweet reminding everyone it's flavor, not flava.
Oh, all right. So we actually next week are going to be coming on live twice. Monday, we because of scheduling needs, Monday PLD is coming on for the first time in a long time. PLD has not been on What the Show for several years. Monday night, that stream's going to go very long. It's going to start with Bethany, PLD, and I, and we'll see what happens from there. And then also next week we have somebody who hasn't been on in a while. Adam Collins is coming on, and he's going to go over most of the summer horror movies with everybody because there's actually been a fair amount this year.
There's always a fair amount if you just look.
Yeah.
Listen, Jeff, we're not all logging all our stuff on Letterboxd, and you know.
Well, apparently I'm not either. Fucking Jaws only recently and whatnot.
I did notice, Jeff, you made a post on the everyone was like ranking their X-Men, and Days of Futures Past was not on your list.
Have you not seen it?
Yes.
No, it is not. If you go look at your thing you posted,
It is.
on
It's an
Twitter,
alternative poster on it because that Letterboxd allowed me to have it.
I'm going to look.
He's pulling up right now. He's back checking.
It is listed number 5.
It's not number 5, sir, and you're saying it's not on here. Out here spreading rumors
Jeff
about
has not
Jeff.
seen Days of Future Past, everybody. It is
It's
not
right here. See?
Right
It's
there.
number 5, right?
How dare you
It's an
besmirch
alternative
me?
poster. If I'm trying to do it without, see? Boom.
That's it.
It's an alternative poster. That's all.
In your face, sir. In your face.
There's only one way I can respond to that.
You got to put down the appletini.
That's directed at me right now.
Man, I've moved on to the espresso martinis.
Yeah, come
now.
on. We have to get
I've
a
had
rating.
far more espresso martinis in my life than I have
We-
applebeanies.
I have to contact James Remar.
We need
and see
James
if we
Remar
can
to
get
talk to you again.
Yeah, put on the espresso martini. I don't even
I will
know.
show you my shirt next time I'm invited on.
I would love to see your espresso martini shirt personally, Jeff.
My mom got it for me.
That's her. She sounds like a nice lady. We all just serve a nice Jeff's mom in our life.
I saw Wallace Shawn die. Wallace Shawn is dead.
We can happily report, everyone, Jeff has officially, this has just come in, he has seen Jaws.
I saw Wallace Shawn die. Wallace Shawn is dead.
It's 2 minutes for roping. I like that. You're a jabroni.